630 CHED presents The Announcers. Opinion, personality, passion. The Announcers on 630 CHED, Edmonton's breaking news and conversation station.
Thanks for tuning into The Announcers, this week's edition. I am Ryan Jespersen. J'Lyn Nye Andrew Grose. How the heck are you two?
Good. I'm just marveling at how dapper you look in your hat today.
Oh.
I like the hat.
I like that we're going to lead with what we're wearing.
Yes, fun. No,
I
I
like
the
that
hat.
you have outfits that coordinate. I put on whatever's on the floor by my bed.
I've never known when you should freely use the word outfit. You know, like
Well, that's an outfit.
it might be a gender thing. I don't know. I can't think of many men that say, "Hey, do you have your outfit picked?" or "What's your outfit looking like tonight?" Is that no?
Well, I would say that's an outfit. I mean, it's all coordinated. It looks great.
This is going to be super annoying for the people listening to this on 630
Oh, I
CHED, but
suppose
for
that's
those
true.
watching this via 630ched.com and watching us on YouTube, they'll see that I have, with expertise, paired up a maroon blazer with a gray, what do you call this,
That's
a
not
newsboy?
maroon blazer. It's brown.
All you're actually missing
Oh,
is
here we
the
go.
elbow patches and the pipe, and you'd be complete.
Well, I guess under
Glass
our
of
new
scotch.
prime minister, apparently pipes are going to be kosher everywhere soon. We decided we didn't want to dedicate another week of the announcers to talking politics, but how can we ignore the spin-off from the Liberal government's Monday night victory? Justin Trudeau, of course, the Prime Minister designate. I'm curious what the both of you will think about what went down Thursday afternoon. A note passed back and forth between a Tory supporter by the name of Michael Kidd and then Liberal Party leader Justin Trudeau. March 20th, 2013, in fact, a Porter Airlines flight from Halifax to Ottawa. The note passed soon after the plane took off from Halifax read, and it was directed to Justin. Can you really beat Harper? Mr. Trudeau passed the note back to Mr. Kidd. It said and repeated a famous phrase from Justin's father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, uttered back in October of 1970, "Just watch me." Well, this Thursday, that note sold on eBay for $12,301.
Really? Well, I would assume Justin bought it. Who is that note of value to? First of all, Justin Trudeau. I mean, and you know, the guy hasn't even been sworn in yet. And this will be my first criticism of him. He's great at image. The guy is absolutely great at image. And I can see where there was a meeting somewhere at some point where somebody said, you know what we need to do is write a note. And then I'll write this, and then I'll pass it back to you, and then we'll take a picture of it and put it on eBay. So the thing seems so contrived to me. But if I were him, I wouldn't have sold it on eBay. I would have framed it and put it above my desk.
Now, this was news back in 2013 as well, which I think has driven up the value of the note because it was
Yes.
verified and it was national news when it was said. And not only just because of Justin Trudeau repeating that phrase, "just watch me," of course, that Pierre Elliott Trudeau uttered on the news to cameras when asked by a reporter how far he would go in limiting civil liberties when it came to dealing with separatist terrorists during the October crisis. Of course, the FLQ, everybody knows that story, or most people do anyway. The story gained some traction as well when the Prime Minister's spokesperson at that point, this was Andrew McDougall, when asked about this, posted his own response, another handwritten note that said, "Fuddle duddle."
Oh, really? Really?
So I think it perhaps ascribed some value to the Trudeau note, but $12,301, for some people, money is no object.
Exactly, and for some people, having a little piece of history, they love that. I wouldn't pay that much for it, but I think it would have been neat to have something like that and be able to, as Andrew said, maybe put on my desk somewhere, maybe somewhere down the road when it was worth $100,000, sell it then. But I think I love this story. I like the confidence that Justin Trudeau showed even back then, even if it was just, playing on Dad's words. But I like that.
But what's he going to say? Probably not.
I'm
Can you
not
really beat
sure.
Harper?
I doubt it.
That note might be worth $100,000.
But he could have ignored it. He could have just looked over and chuckled at the guy and, put it in the back of the porter seat in front, right?
Sure.
He could have ignored it.
There is some celebrity swirling around Justin Trudeau.
boy,
A huge part of
yes.
that is his last name. Part of it is his undeniable good looks. I'd
Sure.
like to get to that in just a moment. And, of course, his charm. Are you concerned that celebrity is going to overshadow substance with Canada's PM designate?
No, I'm not concerned. Rolling backwards for a second, to get that kind of money for an autograph, the guy should have scored 50 goals. And I'll just leave it at that. No, actually, it's kind of, regardless of what your politics are, it's kind of cool to have a young-looking leader. I mean, he's not that much younger than Harper was, but he's young and he's hip. And I'm old enough to remember when Trudeau was in power, and he was, to our thinking, perhaps not young, but hip. And it's kind of cool to get an international reputation again as having a hip leader.
I think it's been fascinating to watch the reaction from around the world and some of the comments that have been coming in from news outlets. That's one thing, but even just watching, Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds and saying, "Hey, to my friends down the south, look at this is our new prime minister," sort of stuff. And I've chuckled at that, and I thought it was amusing for the first few days. I really do hope that it gets kind of pushed to the back and that we see the substance come forward, and that's just a part of it all. But look back, you look at it, look at the Kennedys. Just kind of that whole little mystique, that air around them. Is it okay that we have this a little bit now? I don't know if you can compare the Trudeau family to the Kennedys, but it's the first time really that this country has had anything like this.
Sure. I think you could probably compare the Trudeaus to the Kennedys in a direct comparison of popularity, of sort of a generational or multi-generational political presence. It's certainly the first time, and this would be probably more of a realistic or fitting comparison to the Bush family, but it's the first time that Canada has seen a father-son prime minister tandem. Of course, more years in between Justin and Pierre than there were between George and George W. But
they're a beautiful family. I mean, he's handsome, she's good looking, the kids are adorable. I mean, even the pictures from the other day on the Back to the Future Day, him sitting in a DeLorean, the kid on a hoverboard, and the other kid. I mean, they're playing it up very, very well.
That's the whole point. They're playing it up really, really well, and that's not a criticism. He's good at imaging, or his people around him are great at imaging. And when it comes to a politician, and we book politicians on shows, and that they schedule right down to the second their bowel moving. So there's no way that he just went ahead and he just showed up at a Toronto was it a Toronto subway stop? Montreal subway stop and started shaking hands. I doubt very much that he just was sitting at his desk and said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head on down to the subway." I mean, has Justin Trudeau ever ridden a subway? I hate to be too skeptical about this, but it just seems like, and that's I'm fine with it. I'm fine actually having somebody spin an image of a politician properly. I mean, that's nice, isn't it? I mean, now we're not hearing some awful story about him, or he's not doing some dumb thing that we think, how could you be elected to politics and be so stupid? So I'm happy that he's spinning it in a positive way, but I'm cognizant of the fact he's still spinning it.
But he's not even officially the prime minister yet.
Oh, but come on. Hey, no, but you know what? I'm not talking about the time from the moment that we knew he was going to be prime minister. I'm talking about the moment we knew he was running. You see things like, and again, it's not a criticism in anything. If anything, it's a compliment. Justin Trudeau with a nice shirt on, his tie slightly untucked, sitting in his apartment reading, focused on material, and you're thinking,
canoeing up the river.
Yeah, what a great candid shot of our future prime minister. And then you think, well, wait a minute, how could that be a candid shot? Is there security footage that we?
Yeah, but Andrew, do you think that Jack Layton's rolled up sleeves were legitimate every single time, or do you think that was part of the marketing machine too?
Oh, I absolutely agree, and I'm not saying that Justin Trudeau is the only one, or his people are the only one to put such a great spin on image. Jack Layton, and very successful with his spin on image. I actually offended Jack Layton when he sat in this very studio that we're in right now, and I asked him how he could be an advocate for the working people when his suit cost more than most working guys make in a week. And he was actually quite visibly angry, but he knows how to wear a suit when he's talking to blue-collar guys, or he did, know how to wear a suit. Shirt untucked, tie gone. I mean,
what did you want him to wear, though? Like Carhartts and steel-toed boots? Like, what did you expect him to wear?
I know. It's just that, there's a hypocrisy to it a little bit, and I'm sorry to speak ill of those not with us anymore, but I was sitting right where J'Lyn Nye is, and I was looking at that suit, and he was talking about the elderly and the working guy and the single moms, and I just could not take my eye off that suit.
That was a great suit.
It was a great suit. He looked good in it.
Here's the thing, though. I think the whole imaging thing and everything that we've seen, and whether it's been very well planned or if some of it is fly by the seat of your pants, fine. Canadians connected with it. Canadians
Yes.
connected with it, and that is something that Canadians have not done, I think, with a politician in a very, very long time. I think we saw Stephen Harper as very, very controlled, very, looking very inward all the time, like, don't get too close to me, don't get too close to me, that sort of thing. Whereas Justin Trudeau got up there and
You just had to throw in Trudeau.
I did.
You just about just
caught
called
me.
him Justin.
And, people are reaching out for him and they want to be around him. And, at one of the parades, the gal comes up and jumps him, wraps her legs around him. And, he's big smile on his face. People wanted to be with him. People wanted to be near him. It was kind of almost like this little rock star thing that was going on. But he connected with a majority of Canadians. And so, you know what? Tip of the hat to him for doing that. He made himself seem more real.
There was a bit of a flare-up that didn't last long, much to the chagrin of Justin Trudeau's critics, through the campaign where he was photographed with a topless woman. I believe it was at a pride parade, though I don't remember the specifics of it. Many people said, what is the big deal? He's an everyman. He's there. He's accessible. Other people said, the fact that a future PM or a wannabe PM at that point is willing to be photographed with someone topless shows a lack of decorum, shows a lack of a prime ministerial air about him. Does the fact that more Canadians voted Liberal than any other party suggest that maybe we're getting over ourselves there, that we're not as reserved as the rest of the world has perceived us to be over the years? Or am I reading too much into this, drawing a direct line between one incident and the final results of the election?
Yeah, I think perhaps too direct of a connection, although each voter makes up their mind for their own reasons.
It didn't kill his campaign, though.
It didn't, and it went away really quickly, which, once again, a compliment to whoever's handling his imaging. I think if you combine a sort of a carefree type attitude with a really basically positive message. Now, it depends on whether or not you're an economist as to whether or not the message is positive. But if Justin Trudeau says the other guy's like a bank manager and he's going to hold everything the way it is and he's going to see us through this crisis, and Justin Trudeau is saying, no, I'm going to spend like a drunk sailor and nobody's going to lose their job. And plus, I'm very approachable. Those are very positive messages for a voter. If I want anyone to, the average Canadian, I often confuse those two. The average Canadian, I think, would rather have his government go in debt than his household. And I think that was the messaging, the subliminal messaging of the Liberals that, yeah, we're going to spend a whole bunch of money. They didn't even hide the fact. We're going to go into a huge deficit after this, but you're going to stay working. That's a great message.
You talk about international news coverage of Canada's election results on Monday night, and many of the headlines, many of the news reports, much of the commentary was somewhat facetious, suggesting that Canada has a new prime minister. Do you even know the name of Canada's old prime minister? But a lot of the news coverage centered around Justin Trudeau's charisma and more specifically around his looks. There were some headlines that suggested that Canada has, pardon me, the world's most doable leader. There were other headlines that suggested that Canada has the world's sexiest first couple. Why is it okay to talk about a male politician this way when it would be absolutely unacceptable to evaluate a female politician under the same criteria?
Not touching it. Go.
Oh, you know what? I read an article that addressed that exact question today, and it said because, and I don't know if this is fair, because women fear being raped. That's what it was, and men tend not to, and so when the looks thing gets played into it, that maybe that could be a part of it. I don't know. Do I think
I don't want to be a judge on what makes Justin Trudeau
but here's the
sexy.
thing: we do judge female politicians,
yes,
and we often judge them on either they do look good or they don't look good.
Well, and we can broaden this past politics.
Remember, Belinda Stronach. She was a good-looking woman. Her looks were brought up often. You look at Hillary Clinton. I mean, the talk about her and how old-looking that she's getting, and she's got the jowls now and the
and the fact that Monica Lewinsky is often referenced,
right?
Sarah Hoffman was criticized for having health plans when she doesn't appear to be healthy. So people criticize.
Those are negative. That's all negative for the most part. I mean, if we had a really beautiful female prime minister, and someone for the first couple of days said that she's really beautiful, would I have a major problem with that? Probably no more so than I do with Justin Trudeau. If it continued on, then I think it might be a problem.
Well, I'd have to ask J'Lyn this question because I don't know if this is true or not. But I'm assuming that when you look at a man and think about his sex appeal, that you're not only looking at his appearance, but you're combining appearance with power with intelligence.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's a package right there. Justin Trudeau, obviously smart enough to get elected. A powerful guy now and good looking.
You talk to probably a lot of women about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, for a lot of women, they're like, yeah, he's kind of like a Justin Trudeau, just older.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there wasn't news coverage talking about how doable Bill Clinton was.
We all heard about how doable he was, though.
Literally, this is the first take for a lot of international commentators and quite frankly, for a lot of Canadians, like you referenced on social media posts. And I was absolutely floored to see several prominent local feminists, several of them, post photos on Monday night. Hey, Canada, this is our new PM, shots of Justin Trudeau at the weigh-in.
Yes,
just before that celebrity boxing match, he and Senator Patrick Brazeau, Trudeau, with his long flowing hair, his shirt off, flexing. And I'm sitting there going, hang on a second, you hypocrites, for speaking out so strongly and with such condemnation on how people reduce women down to their physical appearance and their sex appeal. Yet the first time there's a prime minister that you'd like to get in the sack with, you point that out. You have efficiently and effectively immediately wiped out the legitimacy of any of your complaints up until now. You have shown true colors, as tough as it may be to hear. I saw that on several fronts, and I couldn't believe it. Now, you know me. I'm not too serious of a guy. Yeah. People say that Justin Trudeau and his wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, are beautiful people. They are. People say that they may be the sexiest first couple in the world. I think that Barack and Michelle carry a little influence as well here.
I guess, yeah.
Depends what you're into. And I'm not too serious to have a conversation about how, yes, the world works in certain ways and we do reward good-looking people. There are statistics to show that they make more at their jobs. They don't have to work as hard to get a job in the first place, that life may be easier for the good-looking. But I saw so much contradiction on Monday night, I had to ask the two of you about it.
Ryan, I honestly, I felt the same way when I saw a lot of that over the past couple of days. I was like, whoa, really? I just wouldn't be going there. I just would not be going there. I think it's okay. If you want to think it, that's fine. But to put it all out there, and again, with the message that you've been trying to put out for years and years and years, and then to reduce it by one photograph,
I'm not going to lose sleep if people want to talk about how sexy Justin and Sophie are. Yeah. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to lose sleep or even disagree if people point out that Justin Trudeau has charisma and sex appeal. My problem comes with, if it was a female, this would not be tolerable for even a moment. And I think it's a very interesting sociological study here that's unfolding right in front of us.
I guess after 25 years of marriage, the news you're breaking to me is that there may be a different set of rules for men and women. And I'm not terribly shocked by that, nor am I willing to make a commitment to either side of the argument.
But it's funny because it waters down, doesn't it? I mean, does it? I mean, these are getting to be bigger questions, but and some may roll their eyes at this, but I dare them to tell me that there's any flaw in the logic behind this question. Does it undo the work that has been done by feminists, progressives, and the female community, as well as male supporters over the last several decades? Does it undo that work?
In part, yes, it does. Yes.
I'm sorry, I really cannot weigh in on this.
Why?
Because because I'll say something and then I'll have to reply to emails for the next week.
Maybe they were putting up there being a little, is it okay? Well, and again, here's the thing, on social media, you can't tell tone or context. Cheeky. Hey,
but why even open the door in the first place?
But can't you be a feminist? There, see now, get ready. Andrew at 630ched.com. Can't you be a feminist and find somebody sexy? And
of course you can.
Right, so...
But here, Andrew, here's the point.
But you can't turn around and when a male does it to a female saying, you can't do that.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, if you want to say Justin Trudeau is doable and sexy and fabulous, then that's fine. But then you better not have a problem with it if somebody says the same thing about a female.
But has anyone said anything? I can't. I've been trying to rack my brain to think of a world female leader.
Of course. What about when George Clooney got married and people talked about his wife Amal, and everybody ignored the fact that she is a celebrated human rights lawyer, that she is quite literally a world famous influencer when it comes to human rights in the international courts. All anybody's calling her is the sexy, lucky Mrs. Clooney. And that's a classic example.
The wife of George Clooney.
Sure.
And then, and I go back to, was it the Golden Globes award when Amy Poehler and
Tina Fey
came out and they did the whole skit on it, and just, it was fantastic, right? Because they shot that right in the, you know what.
But maybe we just take ourselves too seriously. I mean, maybe this whole feminist movement of don't evaluate women on physical attributes has been unrealistic. Maybe it's misfocused. I mean, maybe that's just how we roll. Maybe it's just been an easy topic to take a stance on because we saw how quickly it happened when all of a sudden there was a quote-unquote sexy Canadian prime minister. Everybody's tune seemed to change a little bit. Maybe we've been off this whole time. Maybe we just need to admit that as a society, as human beings, we do reward the more beautiful members of our population. Maybe that's just the way it is.
Well, that is absolutely true. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have had the success I've had in my career without it.
Equal
On that we could
opportunity.
agree.
I think it's easy to put someone up on a pedestal like that, you know, hashtag PILF, right? Wasn't that one of the hashtags?
Is that
going?
PMILF maybe?
Something like
funny,
yeah,
really.
something like that. Or a politician, you know, whatever you
someone's
want to take
Googling
it is,
that now,
right?
J'Lyn.
Yeah, well, kids don't do it.
It's a short list.
But so we celebrate them, I guess, when they're good looking, but we'll also take shots at them when they're not good looking. I mean, how many times were there comments about
Chris
Stephen
Christie
Harper's
down in
hair,
the States,
Chris
or
Christie and his weight, and you know, oh look how gray Barack Obama's hair has gotten. You know, you see this it's on both sides.
I heard someone, a media commentator here in Edmonton, say earlier this week that no, there's not a dichotomy here. There's no disconnect between feminist messaging previous to Monday night and what some feminists have been saying about Justin Trudeau after. It's just that women have been so sick of seeing this be so one-sided for so long, and they finally sensed their opportunity to bite back. And I thought that's about the most ridiculous argument that you could possibly make. It's like women complaining about being denied the vote in Canada and then realizing that maybe once they achieved it, they could deny someone the vote because now they had the chance to do it. Now they saw their opportunity and they decided to take it.
Well, and let's not forget, Pierre Elliott Trudeau was no slouch himself.
That's
and
right.
had quite the history with the ladies.
There's some good genes in that family. There's no doubt.
And they're all on the floor. What? Another engaging, entertaining, and we hope provocative edition of the Announcers. Don't hold us to anything we've said. But in all seriousness, if you'd like to send us an email, you can find us at 630ched.com. J'Lyn Nye Andrew Grose on the air every weekday afternoon from 2 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon news. Of course, I'm on the air weekday mornings from 9 till noon. We'll talk to you then.